Yo, what is going on, everyone? My name is Nick, or the Notorious Fantasy, and in today's video, we're going to be doing my NFL Conference Championship picks. Inside today's video, I'm going to be giving you guys a spread pick, as well as an over-under, as well as some player props for each game, the Cincinnati Bengals at the Kansas City Chiefs, the AFC Championship game, as well as for the San Francisco 49ers at the Los Angeles Rams for the NFC Championship game. But before we can get on into things, I would like to ask, if you are new to the channel and you do end up enjoying today's video, please make sure that you hit that subscribe button down below. And while you're down there, whether you are new to the channel or not, please make sure that you hit that like button down below. It would help me out a ton. And if you would like to follow me on Twitter, please do so at NotoriousFNTSY. The link to my Twitter is also down below in the video description. So without further ado, let's get into my NFL Conference Championship picks. We begin with the Cincinnati Bengals at the Kansas City Chiefs. Right now, the spread is currently set as Kansas City Chiefs -7 or -7.5, depending on which book you are looking at. Now, if we go ahead and look back to the first time and the only time these two teams went face-to-face this season was all the way back in week number 17. In that game, the Kansas City Chiefs ultimately lost 34-31 as the Cincinnati Bengals and Joe Burrow basically played a picture-perfect game. In that game, Joe Burrow had 30 completions for 446 passing yards and 4 fucking touchdowns. Joe Burrow went absolutely banana lands in that game, and even with Joe Burrow playing so well, Patrick Mahomes had 259 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Darrell Williams, the running back, who was the lead back on the team. Now, obviously, we all know that that's Jerick McKinnon now. He had 2 touchdowns in that game, so this was a very close game in week number 17. Now, in past seasons, week number 17, you basically throw that out the window, right? Because a lot of teams were benching their players in week number 17. A team like the Kansas City Chiefs, with all these studs, they'd be benching their players. But this was the actual Chiefs versus the Bengals. Now, am I saying that this game is going to go exactly on Sunday how it went a couple of weeks ago, week 17? Of course not. What I'm saying is there is still a very good chance that the Bengals could win this game, and I personally believe that the sports books are really undermining the skills of the Cincinnati Bengals. So my spread pick for this game is the Cincinnati Bengals +7 or 7.5, depending on which sports book you're looking at. I believe FanDuel has that 7.5. DraftKings has it at 7. You guys are watching this video tonight on Saturday night, the night before the game. The line can obviously move on Sunday, and during the game, it will move as well. I definitely feel a lot more comfortable betting 7.5, and if I was going to be putting my money down, I would prefer the 7.5 because I really think this could be a 7-point game, and the worst thing in betting, I guess the worst thing in betting is fucking losing your bet, right? But pushing on a bet when you could have gotten that hook with 7.5, I would definitely prefer to get the Bengals at +7.5. I think this is going to be a very close game. This game basically goes one or two ways. I'm sure you guys have heard this already. It's either that the Bengals really keep this close, they fight tooth and nail with the Kansas City Chiefs, or they get absolutely eviscerated in this game. I really do believe that this is going to be a close fight with Mr. Joe Burrow and Patrick Mahomes. So I like the Bengals +7, +7.5 here. Again, I really would prefer to get that +7.5. On the over-under, it is set at 54.5. Obviously, if you look back 34-31 from last time, then the number would obviously be over. Now, here I will tell you to lean with the over. Am I going to be putting a substantial amount of money on the over 54.5? No. Maybe I will actually by Sunday, but right now I'm kind of just feeling them as a little bit of a lean here on the over-under, and I'm just not overwhelmingly confident in it. What do I want this game to be? I want it to be a back-and-forth affair where the Bengals ultimately win, and that tells the story of the Bengals +7 or 7.5, as well as the over 54.5, but again, I'm not 100% sold in on the 54.5 with the over. If you guys have any picks on this game that I do not talk about, or maybe you're the opposite of me, you say, hey, I like the Chiefs -7 or -7.5, let me know down below in the comment section. Now, moving over to the player props, the first player prop that I like in this game is over 28.5 rushing yards for Patrick Mahomes. He has cleared 28.5 number in each of the last 3 games, so he's gotten over 28.5 rushing yards. I think a couple of weeks ago, he caught it close with 29 rushing yards, but hey, that's over 28.5 in these playoff games. games, these quarterbacks, even though you wouldn't consider Patrick Mahomes to be the most mobile quarterback, right? He's not a guy that in the regular season is typically going to rush for over 28.5 yards, but when the playoffs are on the line, when you're trying to make this push towards the Lombardi Trophy, when you're trying to make your way to the Super Bowl for the third fucking time in a row if you're the Kansas City Chiefs, then Patrick Mahomes is going to put his body on the line and run the ball. He had a bunch of rushing yards last week up against the Buffalo Bills. I don't expect him necessarily have that exact number this week going up against the Cincinnati Bengals, but I think he easily surpasses over 28.5 and would not be surprised at all if he was over 50 rushing yards in this game. The other player prop bet that I like in this game is Jamar Chase over 86.5. The last time these two teams played, Jamar Chase absolutely skull-fucked the Kansas City Chiefs defense. This man had 12 targets, 11 receptions, 266 receiving yards, and not one, not two, not three, actually 3 touchdowns. He had not one, not two, but 3 total touchdowns in that game. They could not stop him at all. Now, do I expect him to hang 200 plus yards in this game? No, but I think he is going to easily be able to eclipse 86.5, and that is why my 2 favorite player props of this game is the Patrick Mahomes over 28.5 rushing yards and Jamar Chase over 86.5 receiving yards. Next up, we move to the San Francisco 49ers going up against the Los Angeles Rams in LA. Technically a home game for the Rams, but probably not, right? There's going to be a fucking Red Sea like it's Moses parting it. In this game, there's going to be a lot of 49ers fans. I expect there to be Rams fans there as well, though. It's not going to be a 100% home game for the Niners, but there's going to be a lot of Niners fans there. So my personal pick for this game, and then we're going to kind of talk about the history of Sean McVay versus Kyle Shanahan from this season, the spread pick. In my brain, the smart pick, in my opinion, the analytical pick, is to take the 49ers plus 3.5. You take the points, you get the plus 5 or the 3.5, so you get that extra half a point, which could be very clutch in this game. I don't expect this to be a very high scoring game, so the smart pick is 3.5, plus 3.5 for the San Francisco 49ers. I personally believe this is going to be a very close game. Now, I understand that a lot of people are really ragging on Sean McVay, saying that Kyle Shanahan owns Sean McVay, that Sean McVay is just Kyle Shanahan's son, that the 49ers are going to absolutely fucking dismantle the LA Rams. Now, if we go ahead and look back to the games earlier in the season, in week number 10 or 11, I believe, the first time these two teams played, the Rams got destroyed by the San Francisco 49ers. In that game, Jimmy Garoppolo was playing quite well. He threw 182 yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Matthew Stafford in that game crumbled a little bit. We all know Matthew Stafford does have a bit of crumble in him where he just has a absolutely fucking atrocious game, throws 2 stupid picks, and ultimately the Rams lose the game. That's how the first game went. Then the second game, the Rams come out the gate, they're on fire. The Rams are beating down on the 49ers. It is 17-3 going into halftime, and then the collapse happens. Stafford throws 2 INTs, but Garoppolo also throws 2 INTs. Ultimately, the 49ers win by a field goal in overtime, 24-27. This seems entirely possible that this could be the score in reverse of the game. But in reality, while I believe that the smart bet is 3.5, well, I would tell you to pick plus 3.5 for the 49ers, everyone and their fucking mother is taking the 49ers plus 3.5. Everyone that can thinks that. Everyone thinks, oh, even though Jimmy Garoppolo sucks, like Jimmy Garoppolo has not done dick in the playoffs, he hasn't done anything, and people are still really on him. He's a good-looking guy, I understand, but at the end of the day, he hasn't been playing great football. So I'm going to ride with my heart, because sometimes you have to kind of outweigh what should actually happen, and just think, what do you want to happen? What does Nick want to happen? Nick wants Matthew Stafford to absolutely eviscerate the San Francisco 49ers. I love Matthew Stafford. I love the Rams. I think Sean McVay is actually being a bit undervalued going into this game. I think the LA Rams smoke the San Francisco 49ers like a blunt. Rams minus 3.5. The over-under on this game, 45.5. Now, last game, we're talking about the Bengals versus the Chiefs. This tit-for-tat, high-scoring affair. I don't really see that in this game. I think this is going to be more of a meticulous game, more of a low-scoring game. Now, am I saying that it's going to be 10-7 or something? No, but I don't think that it eclipses the over 45.5, so I would lean under. Again, lean under. Am I going to bet the under? No, but I would lean that way. For the player props in this game, I like Jimmy G Spot, Jimmy Pornstar, Jimmy Garoppolo, Jimmy Guap, over half an interception. He has thrown an interception in each of his last 2 playoff games. Simply hasn't looked good. Well, he does look good, if you know what I'm saying, but he hasn't played good, you know? Look good, play good, feel good, something that Deion Sanders said. He just hasn't been playing well. So Jimmy Garoppolo, over half an interception. I like that. You like that, Kirk Cousins. And then my final player prop in this game, even though I think it's going to be low scoring, death taxes, Cooper Kupp over 100 yards, over 102.5 receiving yards for Cooper Kupp. I just have to believe in the biggest game of Matthew Stafford's career. This man is going to be force-feeding the ball to his IHOP friend, his breakfast companion, Cooper Kupp, over 102.5. So let me know down below in the comment section where you guys are leaning in this game. Are you with me on the Bengals plus 7 or 7.5, depending on which book you're on? Or are you with me, or are you against me, I should say, with the Chiefs minus 7 or 7.5? Are you with me with the Rams minus 3.5, or, you know, maybe a little bit sharper than 9? You want to go with the 49ers plus 3.5? Let me know down below in the comment section. I love you guys all so much. I hope you have a great rest of your guys' day. And as always, guys, good boy.